tradition people.
We'll call tonight's regular meeting of September 27th, 2021 to order. Roll call, please, Lisa.
Mrs. Philippa?
Here.
Ms. Burnett?
Present.
Ms. Lynch? Here. Mr. Merritt?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Prather?
Here.
Mr. Rose?
Here.
Mr. Schreck?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Okay, we'll stand for the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to make note of executive session, September 20th, 2021 for contract negotiations. And we're going to just make a little bit of change in the order of business tonight since there are a lot of people wishing to speak. We're going to just switch it around a little bit and have our students present their information, and then we'll take public comment. So Cochranton Junior Senior High School, Kendall Rose, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kendall Rose. I'm the student liaison for Cochranton Junior Senior High School. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by telling you guys about some of the extracurriculars that are going on at our school this year. Right now, the girls' volleyball team is playing. They won their game against Sharpsville at home this Saturday, making their record 4-0. As an attempt to make up for previous canceled or postponed games, they're attending 4 games during the school week. This includes an away game today against Northeast, 1 home game against Cambridge Springs this Wednesday, and another game against Eisenhower on Thursday, and a final game at Youngsville this Friday. Our varsity cross-country team has a tri-meet in Cambridge Springs tomorrow, September 28th, against the Cambridge Springs team at 4 p.m. In addition to this event, this upcoming Saturday is our Cardinal Classic Invitational, beginning at 9 a.m. Their meet record is currently 2-1. The marching band placed first in their class and first overall at Fort LaBeouf competition this past Saturday, September 25th, 2021. And their next competition takes place at Northeast the weekend of October 9th. So Northeast is kind of far away, but the following weekend, October 16th, we will be going to a competition at Meadville. As a member of the marching band myself, I would just like to extend an invite to everybody here to come to that. I would like to see some of the board members there. It's always a really, really great show. Opening ceremony starts at 4 o'clock, but the Cochranton band and the Meadville band will be doing their shows later on in the evening, starting at like 8 o'clock. So if you guys want to come to that, we would love to have you there. It means a lot to the kids. This football team's record this season so far is undefeated. We've gone 3-0, which is really cool because we haven't done that in a while. And our next game is away on Saturday, October 9th, 2021 against Iroquois. Our homecoming pep rally is coming up, which the cheerleaders are in charge of this year, and it will be held toward the end of the day on Friday, October 14th, 2021 before the homecoming game. Student council has had a little bit of trouble this year organizing homecoming, the dance and the game. Everything's just been kind of crazy this year. So our homecoming week is cut short to 4 days and our dance is 2 weeks before the game. So we've decided to celebrate one of the missed Spirit Days on Friday, October 1st, which is the day before the dance. The theme of this upcoming Friday is to be decided, but on the week of homecoming, Tuesday will be Redneck/Country Day, Wednesday is Class Color Day, Thursday is going to be Twin Day, and the Friday of the game is a red and white theme. Our homecoming dance this year will be held on Saturday, October 2nd, 2021, and the court nominees will be announced there as opposed to having the full ceremony with homecoming king, queen, prince, and princess beforehand. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any students from MASH or middle school? I didn't think I saw them. Are they coming? Oh, great.
Hello.
Hi.
And are you from MASH or the middle school?
Oh, we were from the high school.
Okay, thank you. So you're Caden and Megan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just bring up my document real quick here.
Okay, my name is Megan Willis. I'm a senior at MASH.
Today we'll be going over just what's going on at school right now. COVID-wise, the school has been doing well with massive efforts to stay separated by the student body. Other schools have been having trouble with quarantine and shutting down, so we're thankful we're able to continue having a pretty normal school year. Part of a more normal school year is the meetings of clubs and organizations within the school. Clubs at our school such as Eco People, Key Club, Sage Club, Helping Hands, Bridge Club, and National Honor Society Student Council have been able to resume in-person meetings, which is nice. We get to see our friends, have those connections, and we're all looking forward to participating in all of our clubs this year. And then Link Crew at our school has done an excellent job at helping 9th grade with their kickoffs this year, getting them integrated into our school, and they've really done a good job with that. So I'll hand it off to Caden.
All right, I'm Caden, and so our big upcoming event will be Homecoming. That'll be on October 8th. Then we'll have Spirit Week leading up to that. That'll be, it's still a poll on to decide what the theme will be for the game. We're either USA or like a camo out. Some of the other sports we have going on right now are girls volleyball, boys and girls soccer, golf, cross country, and then preseason hockey started about 2 weeks ago. And all the teams are just hoping to have as regular of a season as possible, hopefully not canceling any games or postponing anything. And then just at the school and right by the main entrance, there was a reconstruction of the courtyard in the front. They tore up the concrete, put new grass in, and they redid the flower beds, and it looks really nice. And it'll look better once the grass starts coming in the following months to come. That's all we got.
Did you see any middle school kids out there?
Yes.
Okay. Then Needville Area Middle School, Chelsea Osterkamp and Isabella Thorson.
Hi, I'm Bella Thorson. Chelsea's not here today because she had an appointment, but
Thank you.
the beginning of the school year has gone very well. Students are being very cooperative and transitioning well into the new school year. The MAMS cross-country team has 13 runners, 6 girls and 7 boys, which is a big jump from last year's roster. Fortunately, with these numbers, we can compete as a full team at the invitationals. The boys team earned second place at the first invitational in Titusville, and the girls team earned second place at the Commodore Perry invitational. If we can stay healthy, it looks like to be a successful season. In the third season as a team, the MAMS golf team has 5 members. 8th graders Nicholas Ingalls and Ava Woodring, and 7th graders Gavin Rhodes, Carter Sleet, and Taylor Tidball. Many of the members were introduced to the sport for the first time and were able to improve on both of the course as players and people. Golf is a sport that teaches not just the fundamentals of golf, but also integrity, perseverance, and sportsmanship. The team may not have posted the best scores this season, but showed heart and promise. The MAMS football team played their first game of the season on September 16th, following cancellations due to COVID-19. So far on the season, the Bulldogs have 1 win and 1 loss. MAMS will play their first home game of the season on October 1st against Conley Area Middle School. The MAMS girls basketball team is having a successful season, and the girls are having fun learning the fundamentals of basketball. MAMS had open house on September 21st. The event was well attended by students and parents. The marching band has about 64 members this year, comprised of 16 MAMS students and 48 MASH students. Our show features 4 selections by the band Green Day, Bang Bang, Good Riddance, Holiday, Still Breathing. We are participating in 6 Saturday band shows / competitions at the annual Meadville Halloween Parade.
Okay, thank you. Good job. Okay, Okay, we are now going to open up the meeting to public comments, whether the item is on the agenda tonight or not. We're well aware of the passion behind some of you coming to speak, and I'm aware of 4 people that have signed up prior to the meeting and 2 that have signed the register, the visitor's log tonight requesting to speak. So we're going to start with those that had called the board secretary to sign up and move on then to the visitor's log requests. I will call you up one by one in order that the requests came in and or the order that they came in on the visitor's log. As you're called up, please state your name and your home address, and if you're representing a group interest, please state as such and the topic of discussion. Prior to speaking, I would like to remind you that we do have a 5-minute time limit for those who previously signed up and a 3-minute time limit for those marked on the log book. We do like to honor this so that everybody has the opportunity to speak as everybody has requested. I would further like to ask you to please be mindful of others here, maintain respect and decorum as you speak. So the first person is Isabella Symes.
Hello, I'm a 13-year-old student and I will be speaking on behalf of Crawford Central students. Being a student trying to learn is difficult and even harder with masks. Listening is hard since teachers' voices are muffled from a mask. Learning other languages, reading aloud, and concentration are a couple things that affect students' learning abilities when wearing a mask. As a student who has trouble staying focused, a mask doesn't help. In fact, it makes it harder to focus. Now let's be honest here. Most students don't wear a mask correctly. I know multiple students who don't. I also know multiple students who have stuff going on at home that makes them feel like nothing. Then they go to school and they feel like they hurt people because they have to wear a mask. A mask is just like a dog muzzle, and you don't put a mask on you don't put a muzzle on a dog that doesn't hurt anyone. Why put masks on a student who doesn't have COVID?
Next is Ron Irwin.
I'm Ron Irwin from Concurrent, Pennsylvania, and I know that facts seem to have gone out the door during this pandemic, but I just wanted to show this is a respirator. This is a respirator unopened. This is for painting, okay? It is not suitable for asbestos, which is 6 times larger than a virus, so it definitely is not. Now I want to open this up, hopefully. And you can see this, how it fits and everything else. You can do a quick fit test by taking and covering this over when you're breathing in, see how it sucks to your face, contour fit, everything, okay? This is a respirator. This is personal protective equipment. This is a socialist brainwashing tool. That is all it is. This does nothing to stop a virus. We covered this before, and I handed out packets, and everybody got them, and it told every detail about mask respirators. This here, OSHA, it actually says protection from certain organic vapors and particles in accordance with NIOSH approvals, OSHA standards, other applicable regulations, and 3M instructions. There's even an 800 number on the package if you have questions on how to properly use a respirator. Okay, not this worthless piece of material. Also, warning, misuse may result in sickness or death. So again, OSHA states about masks that improper use, improper selection is more dangerous than not having one on. In fact, even studies have been done back in 2015 that cloth masks are more dangerous than unmasked people because of what they allow through, what they hold, and everything else. They are flat out dangerous. So that is pretty much all I have to say because, like I said, I gave all the facts last week. The question I do have is the packets went out, and my understanding is only 2 board members voted to have an agenda item about the mask today. So I didn't know if that is true or not, but that's the rumor going around. And if we cannot have the actual number, we will put in a right to know request to find out exactly what board members voted and who voted which way. We want that information. And the final thing that I want to say is I am going to run as a write-in candidate for the school board in November. And I have filed, my statement of financial interest was filed online. There's a copy for the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Sue Mulvey.
Hi, my name is Sue Mulvey. I am an employee at 1st and 2nd District. I've been with the district 12 years. Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate you hearing us out. We are all very passionate about this. Science is not a story. Science does not have 2 sides. Science is not our friend, and it doesn't deal well with our emotions, especially when we need validation. Science is facts and data, and it's cold and it's compartmentalized. And it does not care how we feel, ever. Looking through published research and finding 1 or 2 articles that fits our narrative is not science, it's bias. With me, I have brought 10 peer-reviewed, journal-published research articles from the Journal of American Medical Association, Stanford University, Yale University, the University of Alabama, the University of Notre Dame, the University of Iowa, the University of Texas, Arizona State University, and the ABC Scientific Collaborative from UNC. The data is overwhelming. Proper masking is the most effective mitigation tool to prevent secondary transmission of COVID when circulating in the community, and a vaccine is unavailable or people are slow to choose that method. Period. We are not talking about OSHA standards here and asbestos and construction. We are talking about why we wear masks, and it's to prevent others from getting sick. This mask stops viruses that travel on moisture molecules in the mask. It's why doctors and nurses wear masks in an OR. Do you think they're scared of getting a broken leg that they're operating on? Do you think they're fearful of getting an appendicitis? No. They wear the mask so they don't infect the wound. They wear the mask to protect the patient. And that's what we are doing here. Face masking is not a health risk. It is not. You could put a pulse oximeter on me right now and my pulse ox would be 98 and 99% throughout. It won't go down. I'm sorry. Doctors and nurses that spend hours in the OR again, or in the ICU, or where I worked in a neonatal intensive care unit and wore masks for 8 to 10 hours straight, never once did we get sick because we were keeping our patients safe, and that's our job. One other thing, we are here to keep kids safe and to keep kids in school. This is the CDC and Department of Health guidelines. And right here it says, if the child that is sick is masked and everybody else around him is masked, the child does not get quarantined. They stay in school. They stay with face-to-face education. You start taking masks off 10, 15, 20% of our kids, everybody's going to be quarantined and back home. Off and on. 10 days out, 3 days back in, oops, somebody else had it, 10 days out, a week back in. It's all going to go over and over. And we want our kids in school. That's what we want. Face-to-face education is the best education, and we want our kids in school. Now I understand that most, if not all the people in this room that are pushing the anti-mask agenda are neither teachers nor are they present in school on a daily basis. As someone who's in 2 elementary schools on a weekly basis, I can assure you this is an adult problem, especially on the K-6 level. Kids are not coming to me every day saying they don't want to wear masks. In fact, children are coming to me seeking a mask when they don't have one, or when their parents haven't sent them to school with one. They seek one out before anybody even tells them not to get one. Kids are not complaining to us, and they are not bothered by the mask, nor is it affecting their education. That said, wait a minute. You guys, you young kids, who's a student? I am so proud of every single one of you. Every single one. Are we on different sides? Yes. But you're here, you stated your name, which I'm so impressed with. You didn't send in an anonymous letter.
Mrs. Mulvey, you have reached your 5 minutes. Please wrap it up within the next 5 to 10 seconds.
Well, I wanted to talk to them. So anyway, the mandate is clear. A school must require and enforce the requirements of all teachers, students, and visitors wear a face covering indoors. The exceptions in number 3 cover a medical excuse for a medical diagnosis or a mental health diagnosis. That takes a physician. I implore the board, do not get political, and please do not accept exemptions from parentals on moral basis. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, the next person. Next person is Caitlin Totterman.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Trotterman. I'm at 110 South Franklin Street, Concurrent, PA, and I'm going to be talking about masking. Is my time start now? Okay, so good evening. January, I will be converted my doctorate degree. I am someone with extensive knowledge in not only performing research, but analyzing, contradicting research, and coming up with my own educated conclusions. I was taught critical thinking, processing, and skills to guide my behavior since elementary school, as I believe our children should be taught as well. I attended last week's board meeting and I did not say a word. I sat quietly while I made observations. A board member walked out of the room while a parent was speaking. Another board member was watched playing on their phone and not paying attention to the speaker. And I even witnessed several board members never even take one look at that speaker. This raised some concern in the board's lack of consideration for all of our frustrations. I appreciated the fact that Mr. Washington gave a Q&A session that was not required. I would have enjoyed it more if I could have heard it. I sat a maximum of 15 feet from Mr. Washington, and yet I can only pick up a few key words as he tried to explain clarifications to the parents. As the rest was muffled, I don't know whether it was by the size of the room or by the mask, but I genuinely could not hear any of the discussion being had at that table. I was able to make more observations during this. I observed adults constantly touch and adjust their mask while speaking, and not once did I see anyone wash their hands before or after touching their mask. Why is this important? As a competent adult with no history of medical conditions such as loss of hearing or attention deficit disorder, I was easily distracted and missed most of the important comments and clarifications. I can only imagine what our children are missing out in the classroom if in 1 hour I can be so easily frustrated with the distraction of these masks, then imagine how they're feeling enduring these conditions for 8 hours a day. And I would just like to say that my son comes home every day and complains about the mask. And the fact that our kids just ask for a mask, they're conditioned to do that, raises some concerns for me as well. I have 3 children within the school district, and I have been with your school district for 10 years. Can any one of you sitting before me tell me my child's name, what grade they're in, or even what kind of grades they get? This is all information probably accessible to each of you, and not one of you can answer one of my questions. You don't know the intricacies of our children, their personalities, their needs, or their quirks. Neither you or the questionable governor can tell us what is best for our children by using such a broad mandate. Last week, parents presented evidence of improper mask wearing, psychosocial concerns, and increase in difficulty in breathing comfortably. So I do not want to spend a lot of time addressing those concerns, but the parents that stand before you believe the consequences of wearing the mask far surpass the consequences of getting COVID. Experts argue masking is a way to help reduce the spread of COVID, and I agree this might be true if the masks are being worn correctly and at all times. As I witnessed last week, the adults aren't even wearing the mask correctly, and we can conclude the children are not wearing them correctly either, therefore not preventing the spread of COVID. If you come to church on Sunday morning or attend a Friday night football game or even go to the band on Saturday night, you will witness mass gatherings of children, all maskless. If unmasked children have been gathering since the beginning of school, then tell us where the breakout is. Approximately 3,400 students, 306 teachers, and 269 non-teaching staff members are at Crawford Central School District on any given day. Of those 3,975 people that are in a school on any given day, you have calculated 49 total positives. That's 1 in 81 people. That's 0 confirmed hospitalizations or deaths, and that's a positivity rate of 1.2% in our district. The national rate is 7.6. I just find it ironic how the fear exists and yet no mass breakout in our school district does, as our kids have continued to go unmasked everywhere outside of school. Are you trying to tell us, or is the governor telling us that catching and spreading COVID only exists in school? We know the board sided with us a few months ago. We saw your plans and we saw that you were going to leave the decision up to the parents. We need you to fight for them now. The parents need to be heard, and so do our children. A broad mandate such as this one is inappropriate and overreaching. We as parents know our children as individuals and can make the best decisions for them. I just ask you to accept exemptions with doctor's signature, and I did notice that Pencrest went right on with the lawsuit, so I wouldn't be upset with that either. And we just ask that you take that into consideration. If you don't take those things into consideration, I'm not the only one saying this, I'm sure, but we're going to start to question whether or not your abilities to act in the best interests of our students is why you're here. Thank you.
We will now move to those that requested via the visitors list tonight, the log, and the first is Monica Irwin.
Hi everybody, my name's Monica. I live on Steen Hill in Cochranton, Pennsylvania. I heard the argument just a little bit ago that said that you guys were not hearing from your students, that you feel this is an adult problem complaint. I'd like to let you know that we did survey your students. And while this was done really quickly, we only got this out Thursday, so I apologize. It's not a very great, we didn't get a whole lot of participation. However, 246 students did participate. They range from Meadville Area High School, the Cochranton High School, elementary, we have Neeson Hill here, we had Second District. Of those 246 responses, we found that 85% of your students don't like the masks. Okay, we get that, you know, don't like it, that's one thing. However, 77% of those students felt that these masks were affecting their ability. Last week I asked you, I said, the cure cannot be worse than the virus, and at what point are you going to realize that you have made it worse than the virus? At this point, I am seeing that it has become worse than the virus. Just this morning, or today, I guess, whenever my child got home from school, she wrote this letter for the school board. Can you read it? It says her name at the top, Leandra, said, "My mask is getting hotter. I hate them." So yes, this is a student problem. My daughter's face was beet red because she was super hot being on the bus with all of those other students. She's worn her mask all day. She's frustrated. She does have ADHD. She is being distracted, and her learning continues to be affected by struggling to keep the mask on her face, trying not to let it be a distraction, but it continues to be. So, when will you finally stand up? When will you help us protect our children? Is it going to be whenever they require vaccines across the board? Will you stand up and protect our kids then? How about whenever they require weekly testing? Are you going to allow that in our schools? Because I know most of these parents here today are not going to stand for that. That is when you're going to start seeing parents pulling their children out of your school and putting them in non-district cyber schools or private schools like some have already done. All I'm asking is that you listen to your students and your parents. I'm not saying get rid of the mask mandate. I'm simply saying return the choice to us. If someone wants to wear their mask, fine. We have no problem with that. I'm just saying some of us do not feel comfortable in our masks. It's affecting the students' learning, and it does have a lot of social, emotional trauma that is being caused to these children because of the masks. Please take that into consideration. Please, please, please return this decision back to the parents where it should be. Thank you.
I do believe the last request is Kathy Dieter.
I wore the mask in because you asked me to, but I can't talk with it on because I can't breathe. Did you have chickenpox as a kid? If you did, you don't get the chickenpox vaccine. My son had COVID. He already had it. It took him 2 days. 2 days. An asthmatic kid. Overweight. 2 days. My husband and I took much longer to get over it. I'm not saying there aren't people out there that aren't getting really sick from it. There are, but there are people that are getting really sick from the flu too. It's not your job to protect him. That's my job. Like was mentioned tonight, I know my son. Amen. I know his name. I know his grades. I know how he feels. I know how he talks. I know his health concerns. Fortunately, there are too many kids in your district for you to know every one. But I do have a challenge. I challenge you to go to your school. Go to your schools and ask them. Don't ask your principal. Don't ask your administrators. Don't ask your vice principal. Please. These are all people that are protecting their job because they have to have their job. That's their life. Don't ask them. Go to a school and pull a kid out and say, how many masks breaks have you had today? I guarantee you, Mr. Washington, when you're in your office by yourself, you should take your mask off. Because none of us like them. My son wears his mask from the time he steps on the bus. Has less than a half an hour for lunch that he has it off. And every other minute that he is in your care at all, he wears his mask. How is that fair? You say we give mask breaks, but I challenge you to ask your kids. Ask the kids, not the adults, not the ones that need to protect their job. Ask the kids. This is why they hate it. Some of the elementary schools even have to wear them outside. I mean, where do we draw the line? He's my son, and I love him, and I would do anything for him. I would die for him. Stop trying to take the burden of protecting my son. You have enough to worry about with educating him. Let me be his mom, his protector. If I say, you know what, we talk about it, and he doesn't need to wear a mask, let me sign a paper absolving you of that. Let me be the one to take that risk. Because like I said, if you had chickenpox as a kid, long history here. You had chickenpox as a kid, you didn't get the vaccine. Why? Because your own antibodies are considered to be way better than any vaccine could be. So if he's already had it, yes, he could get it again. But if he's already had it, he's already good. He's already okay. It took him 2 days. Just listen to us. Don't try to be Superman for our kids. We're superwomen. You know, that's our job. We're parents. Thank you.
All right, I would like to thank you. Excuse me?
Is anybody else?
Nobody else signed up.
Excuse me, I did.
Can we, if I get on the
Oh.
end of the list? please?
I didn't see it on here. Then step forward and say your name.
Hi, my name is Carrie Symes. I live at 191 North Franklin Street, Carverton. I have a few letters that I'm going to read from students. We've been collecting letters from students, and I also have copies that can be handed around as well. I'm a student in 6th grade. I want to say the masks make me feel very sick during classes. I feel much hotter, and it doesn't help being in the hottest room in the school. I go home with headaches, and I feel the masks are affecting my grades and education. And I am afraid to have my mask off for a second to breathe because we get yelled at. And we get no mask breaks all day. During every class, a teacher yells at kids to pull up masks or go to the office. Honestly, at this point, I'd rather go to the office. The masks make it hard to hear people and even harder to see people's facial expressions. When we read aloud, I can't hear anyone. I hate them. They're making school not be fun anymore. And another. Hi, I'm an 8th grade student at Meadville Area Middle School, and this is how I feel about the mask mandates at our school. As soon as I get to school, I put up my mask, no questions asked. I don't complain about it. I keep it above my nose, and I have it up the entire day. But doing so has given me problems that first came along with it. Nearly every day I receive headaches. That makes it hard to concentrate, therefore interfering with my schoolwork. Getting headaches nearly every day has shortened my attention span. I feel exhausted and tired every day when I come off the bus. Like I just want to drop on the floor and fall asleep. I also find it difficult to hear the teacher's instructions when they have the mask on. Sometimes I don't hear the right directions and I will end up doing it wrong or forgetting something. Wearing masks has also made it difficult to see or breathe. When someone who wears glasses, foggy glasses, get annoying to watch where I'm going in gym. Also, I sometimes get really anxious and it gets really hard to breathe when I'm freaking out. When I breathe heavy, the mask makes face hotter, therefore makes it even more anxious. Overall, I feel masks should be optional because of the reasons I have listed. I feel that the masks do more harm than good for me. Thank you for listening, and God bless America.
Dr. Rothman, did you want to speak?
And then I think, gentlemen, did you say?
I have handouts.
So I think it's this gentleman and then this gentleman in the red. So I'm in there, okay?
First,
He's first.
excuse me, he's first. Excuse me, he's first.
Sorry. I'm Arthur.
Okay, and then you.
And then you're next.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Stu Rothman, and I didn't realize I had to sign up, but thank you for letting me speak. There's a lot of strong feelings here tonight, but I think we should consider a little recent history of this COVID. Our schools were closed during part of last year. Am I remembering that right? How many days were they closed? You have a guess?
Yeah, we went from shortly after Halloween through the Christmas break, right up to about the end of January to February.
A lot of days. And you know why they were closed? Because things got out of control. They mostly got out of control because we adults were not doing what we should. And what do we really expect to happen with this new, stronger variant? If once we have gotten forward for a while and businesses are reopening and schools are reopening, and I don't think there's anybody that disagrees that schools are the best place for children to learn. And I don't think there's anybody on the planet that likes to wear a mask. I've gone back to wearing a mask even though I have had 2 vaccinations, because I'm going to places in which people are unmasked and I don't know if they've been vaccinated. You know, there's a lot of issues. There's where do we get our news? Is the news accurate? If it's respected networks and news outlets, including our local paper, they have an ethical responsibility to print the truth and to separate opinion, which is on the editorial page, from the reporting of news. I know people who get all of their news from the internet. Anybody in this room could set up a place to speak on the internet and say what they want, because there are no such things, no such guidelines stopping anybody to say whatever their opinion is. Our public health officials have an ethical responsibility to protect the health of the public. The people sitting around the table here, 9 of whom are volunteers. I was on the school board a while back and we had some difficult issues, but not like they have. And the administrative people that are here, they have a responsibility to protect your children and my grandchildren for the entire time that they are in the public schools. I want them to do their job. I don't think any of you would want their job, and I sure as heck would. And there have been times in our history where we've come...
Mr. Rothman, I'm really sorry to interrupt, but you are at your 3 minutes. If you could just wrap it up in a couple...
Yes, there have been times in our history, like in World War II, when we came together and defeated an enemy. Now, we don't seem to be that patriotic. So if there's no other reason, do it because you're a patriot.
Thank you. All right, you're next. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Robert Conley. I live at 20462 Alden Street. Some of those who are online may know me from Facebook as the guy who posts the COVID numbers by school district. I would like to start this off by reading the letter. It is from a Mrs. J.R. McGuire of Bay Point. She writes home to her parents, to a Mr. and Mrs. Evi Lineger. And she says that everyone there is compelled to, in Bay Point, to wear a mask as protection from the flu. If you go into a small town without one, you're fined $5. If you go into a city without one, you're fined $10. She said it's a novel sight to see everyone wearing them. This was printed in December 4th, 1918 in the Conyerville Courier at the height of the Spanish flu. Now, 100 years later, we are faced with the same situation with a different disease. And it's no easier. Then, as is now, there was a multitude of voices, each claiming the answer and why. Then, as is now, the communities and individuals that fared the best were those who looked at the evidence, see what was supported, and applied it. We have people getting sick. We have people dying. 11 since the 1st of August. 12 since the 1st of August. My own mother-in-law died from COVID. I was personally sick from COVID despite being vaccinated because I didn't mask when I should have. The reason I recovered relatively unscathed because the research my wife, Kellyanne, did on our own. We weighed the evidence, applied it, and I'm here and standing before you. I am not asking you to consider me an expert. I am asking you, if you're going to put my kid and family in danger, that you come with answers supported by evidence, that you have done the homework, the same homework as I have. That you ask questions, not from random strangers on the internet, but from local professionals whose job it is to protect our safety and health. Ask Mr. Washington. He knows, he is well aware I'm in the habit of asking why a lot. The evidence you will find supports the following: that we're in the midst of a pandemic with a variant that is virulent as chickenpox, that is infecting the young as well as the elderly, that it kills, particularly the elderly, that it leaves far more with lasting effects like shortness of breath, loss of smell and taste, that vaccination lowers but does not eliminate the odds of catching the disease, that vaccination definitely lowers the severity of the disease once caught, and that the disease is largely airborne and masking helps preventing its spread, not by shielding, but rather by significantly reducing the spread of airborne particles from yourself. I wear this to protect you.
Mr. Conley, respectfully, you're at your 3 minutes. If you could just wrap it up
Yes,
within the next 5 to 10
I have,
minutes.
it's relatively short. When I got sick with COVID, there were 8 other individuals I was in close contact with work. 4 of them tested positive. 2 of them had it worse than I did. 1 did it better than I. My family did not test positive. However, others were not so lucky and it spread to spouses and children. I don't know which one of us had first, but if we had masks, there would not have been 4 of us sick. We went for a year without incident because we practiced masking and social distancing. But within 4 months of not doing that, 4 of us were sick. And finally, the question has to be asked. Does, as a community, do we have the right to enforce measures like masking? I submit that you cannot have real liberty without considering the consequences of your actions on the liberty of others. And I didn't come up with this.
Mr. Conley, we need to stop. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, I don't have anybody else on a list. Is there any, you would like to speak, sir? Please come forward and state your name.
Hi, my name is Mike Hartle. I'm keeping my mask on just for you people who say you can't hear people with them on. I live in Meadville on Terrace Street. I just want to keep it simple. I just want to ask you one question. Do you want to send your children into harm's way? Do you want to send them in knowing that they could possibly die? That is child neglect. That is by definition the pure definition of child neglect. Sending your child into harm's way knowing that they could possibly die. That's what you're going to do if you take these masks off these children. I just buried one of my best friends on Saturday. He was healthy, a 39-year-old healthy man. And I just buried him on Saturday. It's real simple. Keep the mask on. One is greater than 0. If this mask helps 1%, I'm wearing it. It's that simple. You take it off, that's 0. It's pretty simple. Those are real easy numbers, 1 and 0. That's real easy. I'm done. That's that simple.
Thank you, Mr. Harlan. All right. I think that covers our sharing of information. I want to thank everybody for sharing your views. I do want to let you know that Mr. Washington distributed all the information to each board member that was left behind on Monday. And as per Administrative Policy 006, it was decided not to add a resolution on tonight's agenda to accept parent notes as a medical exemption. So we will now move on to approval of minutes. Be it resolved that the Board of School Directors of Crawford Central School District hereby approves the following minutes: the regular board meeting of August 23rd, 2021, and Committee of the Whole meeting of September 20th, 2021. And I need a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Kevin.
Second.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Paula Jo. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We'll move on to committee reports. Curriculum, Ms. Burnett, please.
Thank you. This is the approval of the second and final reading of Schedule J, textbook adoption, inspired chemistry, practical and academic, Meadville Area Senior High, and Concurrent Junior Senior High. Resolved that the Board of School Directors of Crawford Central hereby approves the second and final reading of Schedule J, textbook adoption, inspired chemistry, practical, academic,